January 29th, 1945, Holzheim, Belgium. 2:47 p.m. Knee-deep snow, freezing wind cutting your face. First Sergeant Leonard Funk rounds the corner of an old farmhouse and freezes. 90 German soldiers are staring right at him. Half of them already have rifles in their hands. The other half are frantically grabbing weapons from a big pile dumped in the snow. 4 American GIs are kneeling, hands clasped behind their heads. Just 20 minutes earlier, these Germans were their prisoners. 80 of them, captured by Company C during the assault on this village, guarded by only 4 men, because that's all they could spare. Now those 4 are disarmed, and the Germans are rearming. They're already forming up to hit Company C from behind. A German officer steps forward, shoves the muzzle of an MP-40 straight into Funk's stomach, screams something in German, spit flying. Funk doesn't speak German. None of the Americans do. The officer yells louder, face turning purple, veins bulging. The barrel digs deeper into Funk's gut. Funk looks at the 90 rifles pointed his way, looks at his 4 helpless men on their knees, looks down at the submachine gun pressed against his belly, and he starts laughing. First a chuckle, then louder, shoulders shaking. He's practically doubled over, laughing so hard he can barely breathe. The German officer's face twists, confusion, then pure rage. He screams even louder, jabbing the gun harder. Funk laughs even harder. Through the laughter, he yells to his men in English, I don't understand a damn word he's saying." A few of the Germans in the back rows start nervously laughing too. The whole scene is so absurd. The officer is now beet red, on the verge of exploding. And in those few precious seconds, while everyone is off balance, while the German hasn't pulled the trigger yet, Leonard Funk does something that will go down as one of the craziest moments of World War II. He slowly reaches up toward the Thompson submachine gun slung over his shoulder. What happens next takes less than 60 seconds. 21 Germans will die. The rest will drop their weapons. And Leonard Funk will earn the Medal of Honor for an act no one saw coming. All because he couldn't stop laughing. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. was born August 27, 1916, in Braddock Township, Pennsylvania, a gritty steel mill town just east of Pittsburgh. Smoke from the stacks hung over the Monongahela River day and night. The air smelled like hot metal and coal. His family wasn't rich. His dad worked the mills. Money was always tight. By the time Leonard was in high school, he was already looking after his younger brother most of the time, cooking, cleaning, making sure things ran while his parents worked long shifts. He graduated in 1934. The Great Depression was still crushing everyone. No money for college, no real jobs for a kid fresh out of school. He bounced between odd jobs, clerk work, whatever paid. Then came 1941. War was already raging in Europe and Asia. Congress extended the draft. Leonard's number got pulled. He was 24, 5'5", 140 pounds soaking wet. The Army doctor probably looked at him and thought desk job or supply clerk. They were wrong. Leonard didn't wait to be assigned. He volunteered for the paratroopers. In 1941, airborne troops were brand new in the U.S. Army. The idea sounded insane to most guys. Jump out of a perfectly good airplane, behind enemy lines, land surrounded, and fight your way out. Half the volunteers washed out during training just from the sheer brutality. But Leonard wanted in. He shipped off to Fort Benning, Georgia, for jump school. 5 weeks of hell, endless running, obstacle courses, night marches with full packs, learning to fall without breaking yourself. Then the 34-foot tower jumps, then the 250-foot freefall towers, then live jumps from C-47s at 1,200 feet. The first time you stand in the door, 1,200 feet up, wind screaming, the red light turns green. Your body screams, "Don't do this." Most guys freeze at least once. Leonard didn't. He stepped out. Silk canopy snapped open. The world went quiet except for the wind. France wasn't far off now. He earned his jump wings. Got assigned to Company C, 1st Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment, part of the brand new 82nd Airborne Division, the all-American outfit. By late 1943, the 508th shipped to England. They trained hard. More jumps, live fire exercises, learning to fight in small groups, cut off from support. The older guys in the division had already jumped into Sicily and Italy. They'd seen real combat, lost friends. Leonard was the new guy at 27, ancient by paratrooper standards. Most of his squad were barely 20. But he had something they didn't: steady nerves, quiet confidence, the kind of calm that makes men listen when bullets are flying. By the time D-Day planning started, Leonard was already a squad leader. Everyone knew, when the shooting started, you wanted Funk nearby. He had no idea how right they were. Part 3. Jump School to Normandy. Chaos Jump School at Fort Benning was designed to break you. 5 weeks of pure punishment, 5-mile runs before breakfast, endless calisthenics, obstacle courses that left your hands bleeding, night marches carrying 60-pound packs through Georgia mud. Half the class quit or got injured. Leonard never even considered it. Then came the towers. First the 34-foot mock-up. Jump off, hit the ground, roll like you're taught. Then the 250-foot freefall towers, strapped in, hauled up, released. You freefall for a heartbeat before the cable catches and lowers you. It's not the fall that scares you. It's the moment you step into open air for real. Finally, live jumps from C-47 Dakotas. You stand in the stick, single file, hooked to the static line. Red light, green light. Door opens. Prop blast hits like a wall. Step out. The airplane disappears above you. Silence except for wind rushing past. Then, crack, the chute opens. You're floating over pine trees, heart hammering, praying the silk doesn't tangle. Leonard earned his jump wings in early 1942. Assigned to Company C, 1st Battalion, 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment. The 508th was still forming up. Green troops, new equipment, learning as they went. By late 1943, they shipped to England. More training, night jumps, live fire exercises, learning to assemble fast after landing in the dark. The 82nd Airborne already had combat experience. Sicily, Salerno, Italy. The veterans told stories around the stove at night. Don't bunch up on the drop zone. Cut your risers quick if you land in trees. If you hear German voices, shoot first. Leonard listened. He didn't talk much, but he remembered everything. By spring 1944, he was a squad leader. Quiet, steady, never panicked. When guys got nervous before a night jump, he'd just say, "We've done this 100 times. One more won't kill us." They believed him. Then came June 5 to 6, 1944. D-Day. The C-47s lifted off from England just after midnight. Loaded heavy, M1 Garand or Thompson, extra ammo, grenades, K rations, medical kit, entrenching tool, 60-plus pounds total. Funk's stick was silent. Everyone knew this wasn't training anymore. Over the channel, the flak started. Black puffs exploding everywhere. Tracers streaking up like fireworks. The plane bucked and shuddered. Shrapnel pinged off the aluminum skin. They flew low, 400 feet to avoid radar. Too low for a safe jump if anything went wrong. Red light. Stand up. Hook up. Green light. Funk was out the door. The prop blast slammed him. Chute opened. Thank God. Below him, Normandy. Occupied France. Moonlight on hedgerows. Flashes of gunfire already lighting up the ground. Nothing went according to plan. Pathfinders were off target. Formations scattered. Paratroopers landed miles from their drop zones, some in flooded fields and drowned under their gear, some right into German strongpoints. Funk hit hard, ankle twisted badly. Sharp pain shot up his leg. Probably sprained, maybe fractured. Every step would hurt like hell for weeks. But he could walk. He could fight. That was enough. He cut his chute free, buried it, grabbed his Thompson, and started moving. Alone. In the dark. 40 miles from his assigned drop zone. Behind enemy lines. Within hours, he found other lost paratroopers. Men from different companies, different regiments. Stragglers, scared, disoriented. Leonard took charge without anyone asking. "Follow me. We move at night, hide by day. No noise. No smoking." For 10 days, they slipped through German-held territory. Leonard insisted on walking point, scouting ahead despite the ankle screaming with every step. He put himself in the most danger so the others wouldn't have to. They fought when they had to. Small ambushes, quick raids on supply dumps. No one died, not one casualty. On June 17th, they finally linked up with Allied forces. 18 men, 10 days, 40 miles of enemy country. All walked out alive. The Army gave him the Silver Star for gallantry, third highest combat award, a Bronze Star for meritorious service, his first Purple Heart. He was just getting started. September 17th, 1944, the largest airborne operation in history. 35,000 paratroopers, American, British, Polish, drop into the Netherlands. The goal, seize a string of bridges across 64 miles of Dutch countryside, open a highway straight into Germany. Montgomery's plan will be across the Rhine by Christmas. If it works, the war in Europe could end in months. Everything goes wrong from the start. The 508th PIR drops near Nijmegen. Funk's Company C secures their initial objectives. Quick, clean, textbook. But then he spots trouble. 3 German 20mm flak Vierling anti-aircraft guns, quad-mounted, deadly accurate, are dug in on high ground near Vauxhall. They're hammering incoming Allied gliders. Those gliders carry reinforcements, jeeps, artillery, ammo, medics. Every burst from those guns means dead pilots, burning canvas, men dying before they even touch the ground. The position is fortified. Sandbags, camouflage netting, interlocking fields of fire. About 20 German soldiers manning the guns and providing security. Funk has 3 men with him. Standard doctrine says you need at least 3-to-1 odds to assault a prepared position. Funk is outnumbered almost 7-to-1. The wrong way. He doesn't hesitate. Follow me. We take those guns out. Now. They move fast and low through the hedgerows. Funk leads, always point. They crawl the last 100 yards, hearts pounding. The Germans are focused on the sky, tracking gliders, reloading. They don't see the 4 Americans until it's too late. Funk opens up first with his Thompson. Short, controlled bursts. His 3 men follow. M1 Garands cracking, grenades sailing. It's over in minutes. They kill the security detachment, storm the gun pits, cut down the crews before they can swing the mounts around. All 3 flak guns go silent. The gliders that were next in line land safely. Hundreds of men live because of those few frantic minutes. Funk's small team takes no casualties. The Army awards him the Distinguished Service Cross, second highest award for valor, 1 step below the Medal of Honor. He now has Silver Star, Normandy, Distinguished Service Cross, Holland, Bronze Star, Purple Heart. Most soldiers retire as heroes with just one of those. Funk is stacking them like poker chips. But the biggest fight of his life is still coming. Market Garden fails overall. The bridge at Arnhem becomes a bridge too far. Thousands die or are captured. The Allies don't cross the Rhine that year. Funk doesn't know the big strategic picture. He just knows his men are still alive. The guns are quiet, and there's more war ahead. Winter is coming, and with it, the Germans' last desperate gamble. December 16, 1944. The Ardennes forest, Belgium-Luxembourg border. Snow falling thick. Temperature plunging toward 0. Men are already freezing in their foxholes. At 5:30 a.m., without warning, the Germans unleash everything they have left. Over 400,000 men, 1,400 tanks and assault guns, 1,900 artillery pieces. Hitler's last gamble. Smash through the thinly held American lines, capture the port of Antwerp, split the Allies, force a negotiated peace in the West so Germany can turn east against the Soviets. It almost works. The attack slams into green divisions and exhausted veterans pulled off the line for rest. Whole regiments collapse. Thousands surrender. The Germans drive a 50-mile deep bulge into the Allied front, the largest land battle the U.S. Army will ever fight. For the 82nd Airborne, it's déjà vu. They're rushed from rest camps in France straight into the path of the German spearheads. No time to prepare. No winter gear for most. Boots crack in the cold. Fingers stick to metal. Frostbite starts claiming toes and fingers within days. Company C, 508th PIR, digs in near the town of Werbemont on the northern shoulder of the bulge. Their job, hold the line, stop the Germans from breaking through toward Liège and beyond. Leonard Funk is now acting executive officer of the company, second in command. He's everywhere, checking positions, calming scared replacements, making sure ammo gets forward, pulling men out of shallow holes before they freeze solid. The fighting is brutal and close. German tanks roll right up to the tree line, spraying machine gun fire. Infantry in white camouflage coats slip through the woods like ghosts. Artillery barrages shake snow from the pines bearing foxholes. On December 17, 18, the Malmedy massacre happens just miles away. SS troops from Kampfgruppe Piper execute 84 American POWs in a field. Word spreads fast through the lines. No one wants to surrender anymore. Funk's men know what happens if they're overrun. Christmas Eve approaches. The weather is so bad Allied air support is grounded. Men huddle around tiny fires, sharing cigarettes and K-ration chocolate. Funk moves from hole to hole, checking on his guys. He doesn't talk about medals or big plans. He just says, "We hold here. We don't let them through. That's it." By late December, the German momentum stalls. Patton's Third Army is swinging north. Montgomery takes command of the northern sector. The 82nd helps plug gaps, counterattack, push back. But the real test for Funk is still ahead. January 1945. The village of Holzheim, a quiet farming hamlet that's about to become the scene of one of the most unbelievable one-man stands of the entire war. January 1945. The Battle of the Bulge is slowly turning. The German offensive has run out of fuel, literally and figuratively. Allied counterattacks are biting back, but pockets of heavy fighting remain, especially in the northern shoulder where the 82nd Airborne is still holding firm. Company C, 508th PIR, gets orders to assault the small Belgian village of Holzheim. It's a typical Ardennes hamlet, stone farmhouses, narrow streets, surrounded by snow-covered fields and woods. German troops are using it as a staging point. Supply dumps, wounded collection, rear echelon units. The attack goes in fast and hard. Paratroopers move under covering fire from machine guns and mortars. House-to-house fighting, grenades through windows, short bursts around corners, clearing cellars and barns. By late morning, Company C has the village. They round up prisoners, about 80 German soldiers, a mix of Wehrmacht infantry, some stragglers from shattered units, a few SS men who didn't run fast enough. 80 prisoners. Company strength is already down from casualties and frostbite. They can spare only 4 men to guard the whole group. The 4 GIs herd the Germans into an open area behind a large farmhouse. Rifles and MP-40s are piled in the snow. Standard procedure: disarm them, stack weapons, keep them under watch. The guards stand back, weapons ready, eyes scanning the prisoners for any sudden move. Leonard Funk, acting XO, is busy elsewhere in the village, coordinating with platoon leaders, getting ammo redistributed, checking on the wounded. Everything seems under control. Then around 2:30 p.m., the situation unravels. A small German counterattack probe hits the village from another direction, enough distraction that the 4 guards get pulled away for a few critical minutes. Or maybe the prisoners just waited for the perfect moment. Either way, the guards are jumped, disarmed, forced to their knees. The Germans reclaim their rifles in seconds. They start organizing, forming ranks, checking weapons, getting ready to move out and hit Company C from the rear while the main fight is still going on in the village center. Funk finishes his rounds and turns the corner of the farmhouse. He stops dead. 90 Germans, some reinforcements slipped in during the chaos, staring at him, half-armed already, half grabbing the rest from the pile, his 4 guards on their knees, hands behind heads. A German officer, probably a lieutenant, steps forward fast, shoves his MP-40 muzzle straight into Funk's stomach, screams in German, "Hände hoch, Waffe weg!" Hands up, drop the weapon. Funk doesn't understand the words, but he understands the barrel digging into his gut, understands the rifles now swinging toward him, understands that if these men break out, dozens, maybe hundreds of his company will die from behind. The officer screams again, face red, spit flying. Funk looks at the officer, looks at the 90 men, looks at his 4 helpless soldiers, and starts to laugh. Not a nervous chuckle. A real, belly-deep laugh that echoes off the stone walls. The German officer freezes, confusion replacing rage for a split second. Funk keeps laughing, harder, shoulders shaking. He even calls out to his men through the laughter, I don't know what the hell he's saying. A few of the younger German soldiers exchange glances. Some actually start smirking. The absurdity of it all cracks the tension like thin ice. The officer loses it completely, screams louder, jabs the muzzle harder into Funk's stomach. But those few seconds of confusion are all Leonard Funk needs. He slowly, very slowly, reaches up toward the sling of his Thompson submachine gun hanging on his right shoulder. The officer watches, thinking the American is finally complying, about to hand over the weapon. He's wrong. Part 7. The laugh that changed everything. 60 seconds of chaos. The German officer's MP-40 is jammed hard into Leonard Funk's stomach. Face purple, veins bulging. He's screaming orders in German that no one understands. 90 armed Germans behind him, rifles up, fingers on triggers. 4 American guards still kneeling in the snow, helpless. Funk keeps laughing. Not a fake chuckle. Real, uncontrollable laughter, like the whole absurd situation just hit him as the funniest thing in the world. The officer's confusion turns to fury. He screams louder, jabs the muzzle deeper, hard enough to bruise ribs. Spit flies. Face almost black with rage. Funk laughs harder, shoulders shaking. He even bends forward a little, clutching his side like he can't breathe. Through the laughter, he yells to his 4 men on their knees, "I swear to God, I don't know what the hell he's saying." A couple of the younger Germans in the back actually crack smiles. Nervous, involuntary. The tension snaps like a rubber band for a split second. This isn't how prisoners are supposed to act. They're supposed to beg, drop to their knees, comply. Not stand there cackling while a gun's in their gut. Those few seconds of pure bewilderment are all Funk needs. Still appearing to laugh, still looking like he's losing it, he slowly raises his right hand toward the sling of his Thompson submachine gun. It's slung across his chest, muzzle down, standard carry for paratroopers. The German officer watches, relaxes just a fraction. Good. The American is finally giving up the weapon. He's about to have another prisoner. Funk's fingers close around the grip. Then, lightning. In one fluid motion, he yanks the Thompson down, swings the muzzle up, and squeezes the trigger. The M1A1 Thompson fires 45 ACP at 600-700 rounds per minute. At point-blank range, the heavy slugs hit like sledgehammers, punch through coats, shatter bone, exit in sprays of red. The first burst, maybe 10-15 rounds, catches the officer square in the chest. He's dead before he even starts to fall. The MP-40 clatters into the snow. Funk doesn't stop. He pivots left, keeps firing. Short, controlled bursts sweeping across the nearest Germans. Men scream. Men crumple. Blood steams in the cold air. Brass casings ping and hiss as they hit the snow. The magazine runs dry in seconds. This is the most dangerous moment. Reloading a Thompson takes 2 seconds if you're fast. 2 seconds is an eternity when 80-plus men are pointing rifles at you. Funk doesn't hesitate. Muscle memory from thousands of drills. Rip the empty mag out, slam a fresh 30-round stick in, rack the bolt, done. Less than a heartbeat. At the same time, he's screaming at the top of his lungs, "Pick up their weapons! Pick up their weapons now!" His 4 guards, still on their knees, scramble. They lunge for the rifles dropped by the dead and dying Germans around them. Fingers close on stocks. Bolts rack. Seconds ago, they were prisoners. Now they're back in the fight. The Germans are in total shock. Their officer is dead on the ground. The American who was laughing is now mowing them down. No orders, no plan. Some fire back. Bullets snap past Funk's head. One clips the man next to him. But it's panicked, uncoordinated. Funk keeps moving, keeps firing, keeps shouting. The 4 guards open up too. Now it's crossfire. The Germans break. Some drop rifles and raise hands. Some try to run. Some keep shooting until they're cut down. 60 seconds. That's all it takes. 21 Germans lie dead in the snow. 24 more are hit, bleeding out or crawling. The rest, over 40, throw down weapons, hands high, screaming, "Kamerad, Kamerad! Comrade, I surrender!" Funk stands in the middle of the carnage. Thompson smoking, barrel hot, surrounded by bodies, blood soaking the snow red around him. He looks at his men, alive, breathing hard, and says, dead calm, That was about the stupidest damn thing I've ever seen. The prisoners are prisoners again, this time under much heavier guard. Part 8. Aftermath and Recognition. A Legend is Born. The snow around the farmhouse is a mess of red slush, bodies sprawled at awkward angles, weapons scattered like forgotten toys. Smoke curls from Funk's Thompson barrel. His 4 guards, now armed again, are catching their breath, eyes wide, staring at the carnage. Funk lowers the gun, looks around, shakes his head. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen, he mutters to his men. No anger, no triumph, just matter of fact, like commenting on bad weather. They quickly round up the survivors, over 40 Germans, hands high, no fight left in them. This time the guards are reinforced, no chances taken. The prisoners are marched to the rear under heavy escort. Company C secures Holzheim for good. The counterattack probe fizzles out. By nightfall, the village is quiet, except for the stories already spreading. Word travels fast through the 508th, then the 82nd Airborne. The sergeant who laughed at 90 Germans and then wiped out half of them with his Tommy gun. Guys in foxholes whisper it around cigarettes. You hear about Funk? 1 against 90. Laughed his ass off, then opened up. It sounds like a tall tale, but the bodies are real. The prisoners confirm it. The recommendation for the Medal of Honor goes up the chain fast. No one questions it. The official citation reads like a movie script. Although overwhelmingly outnumbered and facing almost certain death, First Sergeant Funk, pretending to comply with the order, began slowly to unsling his submachine gun from his shoulder, and then, with lightning motion, brought the muzzle into line and riddled the German officer. He turned upon the other Germans, firing and shouting to the other Americans to seize the enemy's weapons. September 5th, 1945. The White House Rose Garden. The war in Europe ended months ago. Japan surrendered just weeks before. President Harry S. Truman hangs the Medal of Honor around Leonard Funk's neck. Truman leans in and says, "I'd rather have this medal than be President of the United States." Funk just nods, smiles quietly. No big speech. By war's end, his hardware is insane. Medal of Honor, Holzheim, Distinguished Service Cross, Holland, Silver Star, Normandy, Bronze Star, 3 Purple Hearts, wounded 3 times, never left the line, plus foreign awards, Croix de Guerre, France, Order of Leopold, Belgium, Military Order of William, the Netherlands, their version of the Victoria Cross. He's the most decorated paratrooper of World War II, a 5'5", 140-pound legend from Pennsylvania. But the medals go in a drawer. Funk doesn't chase fame. Part 9. Back Home, the Quiet Life of a Legend. The war ends. Europe is in ruins. The Pacific surrenders after 2 atomic bombs. Leonard Funk comes home to Pennsylvania in late 1945. No parades, no press conferences. He doesn't write a memoir, doesn't go on the lecture circuit, doesn't cash in on the medals or the stories. He just goes back to being Leonard Funk. He takes a job with the Veterans Administration, VA, the big government agency that helps returning soldiers with benefits, disability claims, medical care, housing loans, all the paperwork that can drown a man if he doesn't know how to navigate it. It's desk work, forms, filing, phone calls, the same kind of steady, unglamorous clerk job he had before the war. He stays there for 27 years. He rises through the ranks quietly, becomes division chief of the Pittsburgh Regional Office. Good salary, steady hours, a pension at the end. He helps thousands of veterans cut through red tape, get what they earned, get treatment for wounds both visible and invisible. At home in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, a working-class neighborhood not far from where he grew up, he lives a normal life. Married to Gertrude, 2 daughters, house with a small yard. Neighbors know him as the guy who works for the VA, mows his lawn on Saturdays, goes to church on Sundays. The Medal of Honor stays in a case somewhere in the house. So do the Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, foreign decorations from France, Belgium, the Netherlands. He never points them out. When people ask about Holzheim, about the laugh, about the 90 Germans, he shrugs. Did what I had to do. That's all he ever says. He doesn't seek the spotlight, doesn't need it. Over the decades, the story fades from headlines, but lives on in military circles. A fitness center at Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty, is named after him. A stretch of highway in Pennsylvania bears his name. In 2023, a post office in McKeesport is dedicated in his honor. November 20th, 1992. Braddock Hills, Pennsylvania. Leonard Alfred Funk Jr. dies of cancer at age 76. He's buried at Arlington National Cemetery, Section 35, Grave 23734, among the heroes of every American war. At the time of his death, he's the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from the 82nd Airborne in World War II. Most Americans have heard of Audie Murphy. Many know Alvin York. But Leonard Funk, the short, quiet paratrooper who laughed at death and won, he remains one of the war's best-kept secrets. Part 10. The final lesson. What Leonard Funk really taught us. Leonard Funk was 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighed 140 pounds. A former store clerk from a steel mill town in Pennsylvania. No Hollywood looks, no booming voice, no natural gift for public speaking. Yet when President Harry Truman, leader of the free world, the man who ended World War II, looked at him in the White House Rose Garden and said, "I would rather have this medal than be President of the United States," he meant it, because Truman understood something most people never will. Courage isn't about size. It isn't about strength. It isn't even about fearlessness. Courage is what you do when the math says you're already dead. At Holtzheim, the math was impossible. 90 against 1. A submachine gun in his stomach. His 4 men already captured. Any rational person would have raised his hands. Surrendered. Lived to fight another day. Or not. But Leonard Funk wasn't thinking about the math. He was thinking about Malmedy. 84 American POWs machine-gunned in a snowy field just weeks earlier. He was thinking about what the Germans did to prisoners when they felt like it. He was thinking about the dozens of men in Company C who would die if those 90 Germans hit them from behind. So he laughed. Maybe it was a deliberate tactic to buy seconds. Maybe it was pure stress breaking loose. Maybe the whole insane situation just struck him as absurd. Whatever the reason, that laugh threw everyone off balance. The German officer, the 90 soldiers. Even a few of his own men probably thought he'd lost his mind. And in those few seconds of confusion, when no one knew what to do, Funk made his move. One fluid motion, one burst of .45 caliber lead, then another, then reloading faster than thought, then screaming for his men to grab weapons. 60 seconds later, 21 Germans dead, the rest surrendered, his 4 guards alive, the rear secure. War doesn't reward the biggest. It doesn't reward the strongest. It doesn't reward the reckless or the fearless. War rewards the ones who keep thinking, keep acting, when everyone else has already stopped. Leonard Funk didn't become a celebrity. He didn't chase fame or fortune. He went home, worked a desk job for 27 years, helped other veterans get the benefits they deserved, raised a family, and died quietly at 76. But his story still matters, because it reminds us that real heroes don't always look the part. They don't need spotlights or speeches. They just need to decide, in the moment when everything says give up, that they won't. So next time you feel outnumbered, outgunned, or out of options, remember the short guy from Pennsylvania who laughed in the face of death and then did something about it. Thanks for watching. If you want more stories like this, forgotten heroes, insane odds, real courage, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a like if Leonard Funk just earned a spot in your mental Hall of Fame. See you in the next one.